I'm gonna fucking kill you, is what I'm gonna say.
7, 8 heavyweights, but you already figured that out.
Not at all.
Everyone knows that elite-level athletes are usually respectful, treating the fight as a performance and a chance to showcase their skills. But there are always a few savage and cocky fighters who show zero mercy and go to war like it's life or death. Today, you're about to witness the top arrogant fighters who got brutally punished for their dirty actions. This is Continental MMA. Hit that like button, and let's get into it. The first fighter to be punished is 36-year-old Moroccan Badr Hari. In a fight against a Polish fighter 9 years younger, Hari didn't bother with pleasantries and shoved him with all his might, making it clear that his opponent wasn't even close to his level.
You know, wait until I win. Fuck being humble over.
His opponent, Arkadiusz Wrzosek, came in with a record of 13 wins and 5 losses, and was performing quite well until Hari accidentally fell on his own. This awkward incident enraged Hari, and he truly engaged in the fight. Ruthlessly attacking his opponent and gradually breaking down his body, Badr Hari knocked him down.
1-inch reach, the same as bump to the rib cage.
I can just guarantee you there'll be...
These blows severely impacted Wrzosek's ribs and liver, but Arkadiusz didn't give up and continued the fight. Seconds later, the scenario repeated itself.
He's gonna stay technical. He sets up the finish.
Understanding his opponent's weakness, Hari focused solely on his body, and for the third time, knocked him down.
Just power.
Continuing the fight seemed like a crazy idea, but Arkadiusz, gathering all his strength, achieved the impossible.
This fight is over.
With a single counter-strike, he managed to knock out the raging beast, successfully avenging the past.
I didn't came here to be part, you know. I want to take over, you know. I want to do some great things here.
This is Hector Lombard, and these are the great things he did after all his loud talk.
Lorenzo Hunt in the ring. Oh, Jesus!
After his disgraceful win using dirty tactics, Lorenzo Hunt ran into the ring to challenge the champion, without any aggression. In response, he got hit with 2 sneaky rat-like hooks from Lombard. BKFC immediately set up the fight between them. Lorenzo was already boiling over after Hector's cheap shot, but the rat behavior didn't stop there. Lombard kept it going. Finally, the representative of Karma and Revenge, Lorenzo Hunt, met Hector in the ring. At second 1, they clashed. At second 2, Hector clashed with Lorenzo's fist.
And on cue, Hunt.
The Hunter, now fully confident, started mocking Hector exactly the way he had been holding back for a long time. Lombard completely lost control, swinging wildly and falling from his own punches. By the end of the fight, there was nothing left of Hector. Not his face, not his will to keep going. He rocked Hector hard near the end, but the bell saved the rat from being knocked out by the Lords of Karma. Still, it didn't save him from losing. Lorenzo Hunt took the well-deserved victory.
I'm gonna fucking kill you, is what I'm gonna say. There you go.
Known for his talent and impressive record, Andrei Mikhailovich turned his title fight into a complete circus with his team. In the past, he gained fame for punishing 2 cocky and disrespectful fighters, earning praise for standing up to arrogance. But no one expected him to switch sides and become the villain himself.
We have Cookie Monster over here. We kill the manager. People look at him. It's a Cookie Monster talking like this the whole time. Like, bro, like.
He faced a calm Kazakh fighter who didn't even speak English, making him an easy target for mockery.
You have a translator for a translator that translates a translator. Or what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I'm gonna fucking kill you, is what I'm gonna say. There you go.
Andrei constantly tried to stand out and impress, but all he got in return was a composed, emotionless reaction. Because in reality, the calmest one is often the most disciplined and strongest. And the Kazakh proved exactly that once he was left alone in the ring with Andrei. He didn't care about the perfect 23-0 record and devoured the cocky fighter's confidence like it was nothing.
The timekeeper ring a bell, but...
Tired of playing with his prey, the Kazakh chose not to prolong the clown's suffering. With just a few clean shots, he made sure to leave his mark in Andrei's story. This is outrageous.
All 5 judges. Oh my!
A fighter who was winning the fight falls to such a cowardly blow. On June 10, 2016, a 30-year-old Dutchman Mirthel Groenhart faced an Armenian fighter, Harut Grigorian. In the first round, Grigorian relentlessly pressured his opponent, not giving him a moment to relax. Realizing his impending defeat, which would cost him a title shot, Groenhart took advantage of the moment and knocked him out from behind.
5 judges. Oh my! Defend yourself at all times!
The phrase, defend yourself at all times, might apply to this knockout, but it's certainly not a justification for such behavior. Groenhart immediately began to celebrate his victory, and at that moment, the Armenians team jumped on him. The scandal spread across the internet, with everyone demanding a rematch. And 6 months later, they met again in the arena, but by that time, Groenhart had claimed the champion's belt, making the fight much more interesting. All this time, Grigorian had been dreaming of revenge and beating the arrogant fighter, and the day finally came. His face showed no emotion, which instilled fear in his opponent. The entire crowd was cheering for him, and he had no choice but to win.
He's got to angle out, pivot out. Don't stay center.
Oh, that right hand connected, and Groenhart is dead! That is a knockdown! The champ is down here in round 1!
After the first knockdown, Groenhart could barely stand, while Grigorian couldn't wait for the fight to resume. Without delay, he avenged the previous incident and claimed the champion's belt.
Right now, we may have a new champ in the making! Harut Grigorian hitting the champ! Who's the new welterweight champion of the world? Whoa!
This rat's name is Ryan Jett, and in his fight against Cub Hawkins, he unexpectedly slapped him in the face. Hawkins had done nothing wrong, just eating his banana, but he ended up losing it. At that time, Hawkins had a perfect record of 4 finishes, all in the first round. Since the arena was shaped more like a triangle, he had an even better chance of beating the scoundrel. Hawkins constantly closed the distance, not allowing his opponent to move freely.
Both guys have a good sense of timing, so it's...
By the end of the second round, Ryan was covered in bruises, but the punishment didn't end there. After the 4th round, that smug face was gone, and due to severe injuries, the fight was stopped. Hawkins, having brutally punished the rat, claimed the championship belt. The most insatiable fighter from the world of murderous creatures, Razor Ruddock. A relentless fighter who was set to face off in a terrifying war against Mike Tyson in the spring of 1991. This wasn't just any fight, it was the battle to determine the next challenger for Evander Holyfield's championship belt.
Oh man, I can't wait till the 28th. I'm gonna make you my girlfriend.
Known by every boxing fan around the globe, this iconic clash became legendary. A collision of 2 devastatingly unique styles. Tyson, with his bloodthirsty peekaboo technique, ironically named after a children's game of hide-and-seek.
Tyson knows he's got him in big trouble. If he doesn't answer...
Tyson, a fellow for whom everybody predicts a great future. If they can find some fights...
Uppercut, and Marvis is hurt!
Versus Razor Ruddock, who wielded his trademark weapon, a crushing left called the Smash.
Using his legs at all. Went down to the second straight, dumps it down!
This fight wasn't just history in the making, it was history. Tyson set the tone from the opening bell, swarming Razor with explosive pressure. Iron Mike was in peak form, slipping punches, parrying shots.
Lessons from Douglas Tony. It's done something. It stopped Iron Mike.
It was right above us. Henry Tillman in his last 2.
But Razor wasn't just there to survive. He came to challenge the monster. Instead of running or playing it safe, he stood his ground and countered Tyson with vicious uppercuts. That's the beauty of this bout.
And he did go down.
Well, that could eliminate the knockdown.
I'm gonna make you my girlfriend.
Razor's strategy would take a toll on Tyson throughout the rounds, forcing the former champ to adapt with sly boxing tricks and tight, unexpected counters.
A punch to the shoulder. Now watch, look at the highlight. There's Tyson's leg, there's Ruddock's leg. They're tangled up together. And down he goes. Well, that's not a knockdown.
Despite some failed attempts to land the smash, Ruddock kept his energy high and his confidence unshaken. But then came the second knockdown, clean and brutal. It visibly rocked Ruddock. Though he got up quickly, the next round saw him clinging to Tyson just to recover. There, Tyson showcased his underrated clinch game. Short, sharp shots from the inside that rattled every opponent. And then came the beginning of the end. The next round, Tyson stormed the center of the ring, unloading his full arsenal of combinations from the first second. He wasn't just looking for a win, he was hunting for a finish. And with his iron grip, Tyson tore Razor's consciousness away and added another name to his collection of victims.
Oh,
This incident between fighters will definitely surprise you. The massive muscular guy goes by the name Zdravko Bad News Tarnagiev, a nickname likely given due to the tattoos on his body, which contain more information than a daily newspaper. His opponent was a humble Spaniard named Aitor Gaspar. Relying on his size, Zdravko acted very disrespectfully, even going so far as to shove Aitor by the throat.
Hey.
On the day of the fight, he remained overly confident, keeping his serious demeanor until the very end. As the bell rang, the humble guy twice tried to take the fight to the ground but failed. Realizing he needed to prove his strength and stand up, he finished the fight and completely humiliated the giant. Zdravko not only suffered a loss, but also injured his hand. This outcome didn't sit well with him, and he demanded a rematch. 6 months later, he finally got his chance, but this time, their roles were reversed. The once humble fighter started behaving like a total jerk compared to their last fight. Instead of offering a handshake as a sign of respect, he rushed in like a ferocious beast. He should have understood that arrogance doesn't make you cooler. It only brings you closer to karma. After his loss, the Spaniard continued his disrespectful antics, but it was too late. Zdravko had already proven his determination to everyone. This fully tattooed dude went all in for his first fight. First, he copied the look of Gervonta Davis. Second, he dressed like Conor McGregor. And finally, he put in real effort to come up with the dumbest way to try and scare his opponent. The fighter's name is Izzard, but with all that ink, you'd think his name was Lizard. His opponent, OJ Rose, was also making his debut, and definitely hadn't faced a clown like this before. Both fighters swung wildly from the start, exchanging shots. Rose looked like he rocked the giant Lizard, but somehow, Izzard stayed alive by switching to some awkward wrestling. Over the next 3 rounds, to everyone's surprise, the Lizard was actually throwing decent shots and keeping the fight under control.
Eyesight of Rose trying to bleed it off.
And Jose Rose just walking through him. But
Imitating his idols, he looked like a seasoned pro with a long winning streak. But is Rose really that bad? Maybe we all need to re-watch this fight from another angle.
I think it's very clear that his game plan is to kind of burn out Callum Izzard.
By round 3, it was clear. The Lizard was drained, sluggish, and barely moving. Rose, sensing his plan had worked perfectly, started walking him down and pressing him to the ropes.
He's looking exhausted here, though.
And then a crushing uppercut dropped the Lizard to his knees. We are in Japan, where the next cocky fighter is Shinya Aoki, who, in this fateful fight, committed a truly disgusting act. Everything started out well. He took his opponent to the canvas early in the fight. Then, he began setting up an armbar, trying to find the right position for over a minute. And when he couldn't lock it in, he simply flipped his opponent over. Here was the major problem. Aoki, seemingly on purpose, chose this position and ruthlessly broke his enemy's arm. Making everyone watch such a disgusting scene, he continued mocking his opponent even after the brutal move. Of course, such a vile act couldn't go unpunished, but his previous opponent could no longer continue fighting for the rest of his life. So, revenge came at the hands of his loyal brother and kickboxer, Yuichiro Nagashima. From the first moments, it was clear he was far superior to Aoki in the stand-up game. And after a couple minutes of clowning around, Aoki finally kneeled before his master and took a brutal knee of justice right to the head.
Second round. It's up. No!
Before you, Joe Harding, the discount version of Michael Venom Page. And trust me, you're going to love watching this clown finally get humbled. In this showdown between Britain and France, 2 things stood out. First, the awkward and goofy movements from the Frenchman.
Rick, you know what?
And second, the ridiculous showboating of the Brit.
Saves the fight, so go until the ref stops you, but I don't know.
Oh, nice overhand right there, and
who clearly believed his own hype a bit too much and turned from a fighter into a wannabe comedian.
Oh, we're getting a bit Connor out of him.
Watching his desperate attempts to entertain the crowd, you'd think his first sport was dance, and his real dream was to become a local bar's resident stripper, not a professional fighter. But to his surprise, the Frenchman didn't bite. Despite his clear lack of polish, he stayed calm and composed, patiently waiting for this dancer to slip up. And when the Brit decided to bust out his finest moves mid-fight, the curtain on his little performance came crashing down. The Frenchman shut off the lights with a perfectly timed shot, forcing Joe Harding to consider a career change after that humiliating knockout.
Again with the jab.
Just take a look at this dirty move.
Heavyweights, but you already figured that out.
The Polish native is named Martin Soltysik, and in a fight against Kirill Sidelnikov, a student of Emelianenko, things started off disgracefully. When Kirill extended his hand to show respect, Martin greeted him very warmly.
Heavyweights, but you already figured that out.
This overpumped giant looked like a copy of Voldemort, relying fully on his muscle mass to quickly devour his opponent. Throwing wild, village-style overhands, he tried to scare Fedor Emelianenko's student, but it didn't work. Wild haymakers haven't scared good fighters for a long time now. As time passed, the giant started losing his pace, and Kirill saw his chance to punish the musclehead for the early dirty gesture. Martin's exhaustion revealed the weakness of oversized muscles in real fights, and gathering all his strength into his fists, Kirill finished the fight early, leaving everyone, including himself, satisfied with the justice that had been delivered.
Not at all. Oh, big right hands punch, and that's it.
The same fate awaited the great Michael Page, a true Bellator legend, known for his showmanship and ability to turn every fight into pure entertainment. He goes by the nickname Venom, and that name perfectly reflects his slippery nature. He's slippery not only inside the cage, where opponents often struggle to land a clean shot, but also in his behavior, where he acts with maximum arrogance.
I am inevitable.
He considered himself completely unbeatable and was unshakable in his confidence.
One's reality might be another's illusion.
But on the horizon appeared a worthy fighter, ready to crush his self-belief. Douglas Lima ignored Michael Page's antics and kept his cool during the fight.
Snake Charmer's gonna try to mesmerize and hypnotize.
Lima knew that Venom was most vulnerable in his legs, especially during those moments when he tries to entertain the crowd. At first, it was tough to adjust to Venom's style, and everyone thought Douglas wouldn't survive, but patience paid off. And when the time was right, Douglas sent Venom back to his toxic swamp.
100%. Oh, and there. What a shot by Lima! Mamma mia!
I'm Hurricane Peter McNeely from Medfield, Mass. On Saturday night, watch me kick Tyson's ass.
At the time, Peter McNeely was considered a highly promising talent, with a record of 36 wins and only 1 loss. However, he was unlucky to face Mike Tyson, who had just been released from prison. During his time in prison, Tyson converted to Islam and trained relentlessly, achieving the best physical shape of his life. McNeely didn't take Tyson seriously and recklessly charged at him, but for Tyson, such opponents were merely breakfast.
Comes right at Mike Tyson. Down goes.
After being knocked down, McNeely got up and circled the ring, signaling that he was okay. However, when he attempted to go on the offensive again, he ended up losing like a total loser.
Stop that nonsense, because they were starting to butt heads.
Tyson with a left hook, a right uppercut, down goes.
In front of you is a 36-year-old Dominican, Braulio Rodriguez, and this self-loving loudmouth was given the chance to fight the then-rising young star Ryan Garcia, who was already known for his speed and talent. Like any cocky fighter who respects men's underwear, during the face-off he showed his homolove by pushing him right in the heart. "I got in his head and planted fear," he told reporters after the incident. But the day of reckoning came way too fast. Remember this moment. It perfectly describes Rodriguez's entire game plan for this fight. Ryan, as usual, relied on his unreal speed in this fight and left every viewer in awe. Rodriguez was already shorter than Garcia, but he went to the extreme and stayed even lower than usual for the entire fight. From that position, he reaches for Ryan's groin and grabs him in a male clinch, one he probably won't get out of alive.
Team's good hook, and Rodriguez goes down.
Rodriguez is only saved by the bell, since he clearly doesn't have the brains to calculate Garcia's reach and compare it to his own. Despite the hopelessness of his situation, Rodriguez finds the strength to mock Ryan.
He impressing me. I mean, the crowd don't like it. The fans don't like it.
For which he immediately receives a flurry of lightning-fast combinations from Garcia.
The Storm is smiling.
The smile never left his face, and he happily continued to attack the young Thunder's groin. Apparently, that was the main reason for his low stance. Garcia, of course, got tired of all this clowning around and decided to end the fight faster, knocking out the Dominican in his signature stylish fashion.
And down he goes!
This is over.
Melvin Manhoef stands proudly on the ropes, one of the most intimidating and ruthless fighters you've ever seen. He struck fear into every opponent who crossed his path and truly inspired terror. He never showed mercy and would finish his opponents with the dirtiest methods possible. But this time, he met a real monster, a man whose raw athleticism scared even more people. As always, Yoel Romero starts the fight slow. His massive muscle frame doesn't allow for long-distance pacing. Instead, Romero studies his opponent in the opening moments, but it seems like he won't even need much time, because Melvin exposed himself as a fool right from the start. Quickly adapting, the Cuban monster launches brutal leg kicks that drop Melvin to the ground, and down there, he doesn't stand a chance because the Olympic champion moves in grappling like it's second nature. Only the sound of the bell saved him. In round 2, Romero continues to cautiously test his opponent, but when the right moments come, he unleashes heavier attacks and once again takes the fight to the ground. And there, with razor-sharp elbows, he finishes off the stray dog and ends the fight by stoppage. And once again, Badr Hari makes an appearance in our cocky fighter's top. Over the course of his controversial career, he's delivered plenty of wild moments. But this fight stands out as a perfect example of pure audacity and unfiltered arrogance. It all began with a fiery, unexpected kiss. Young Hari lit the fuse with that bold move, sparking a brawl with his next opponent. But he didn't stop there. He doubled down with a bold post-fight comment that only fueled the fire.
I didn't really know who I am, you know?
Peter Graham entered the ring filled with rage and a burning desire for payback. The opening moments weren't easy for him.
On the Grand Prix undercard. Peter Graham's lead leg. Peter just needs...
Hari treated the fight like a joke, throwing flashy, disrespectful strikes like this one, clearly underestimating the veteran. But for every cocky move, there's a consequence. Peter's first attempt to return the favor didn't land, but the second time, let's just say Badr learned that when you play with fire, eventually you get burned. What the guy in the red shirt does is disgusting. With a cigarette in his mouth, he starts blowing smoke into his opponent's face and shoves him. But that was just the beginning of the humiliation. At the press conference, when Shane Mosley's wife bent over, he went as far as to slap her. Mosley's wife managed to get some revenge by throwing water on the disrespectful jerk, but it wasn't enough. Filled with rage and a burning desire to reclaim his dignity and honor, Mosley entered the ring with a cold, emotionless focus, ready to destroy the rat. It was clear that Mosley was superior to his cocky opponent in every way. Out of ignorance and desperation, Ricardo Mayorga, trying to assert himself, continued mocking and shouting. Not wanting to toy with his prey for too long, Mosley landed a single punch that made Mayorga cry. That punch broke several of the rat's ribs, but at the same time restored Mosley's honor and pride. This fighter goes by the name Elefrank, but in the cage, they call him Lex Luthor. And in this bout, the bald prospect from Gotham made headlines with his especially cocky behavior. But Eduardo wasn't having it. He donned the mask of Batman, ready to bring justice to the octagon. The black and white knight didn't open with a pawn, but with a knight, cautious yet calculated. In response, Lex tried to steal the spotlight, entertaining the crowd with his gymnastic antics. Blinding Batman with the glare off his bald head, Lex sent him crashing to the canvas with a knockdown. What followed was a ridiculous exchange of air swings, both fighters throwing wild shots like two characters in a comic book brawl. Reflecting the solar flares off Luthor's shiny dome, Batman recovered and took the fight to the ground. For 2 full minutes, he spun around trying to lock in a choke, but time wasn't on his side. And once again, the bell saved Luthor by the script. Round 2 was more of the same, until Batman remembered who he really was. Unleashing his elite conditioning and fearless resolve, he shattered Luthor's face across the blood-stained ground of this dark city, a place that had long been in need of a new hero. Alex Walters Hanan. That's the name of a fighter who behaves like a child, but his petty actions are nothing compared to this. In the most unexpected moment, he lands a gut punch on his opponent, signaling that he considers himself to be on a higher level. His opponent, Andrei Mikhailovich, is an incredible prospect with a perfect record of 15 wins. At the time, Hanan also held an undefeated record of 13 victories, but that would soon change. Realizing that Mikhailovich was far stronger than he had imagined, Hanan resorted to more dirty tactics. However, he should have known that every disrespectful move only enraged his opponent more, and would return to haunt him twice as hard. As Hanan sat there in a defeated posture, he had already accepted his loss, while Mikhailovich was just getting started.
Misses with his right hand and works, and there's the hook.
In a final act of retaliation, Mikhailovic spat on Hanan's neck, avenging all his antics. But there was still the finishing blow to be delivered, and the Russian fighter eagerly took on the task.
35 seconds to finish. He takes another shot and more. And here they come, and there's the stop.
He made sure Hanan regretted his disgraceful behavior and learned a harsh lesson in respect. Next in line is Charles Bennett, trying to justify and intimidate his opponent with his fierce appearance. However, judging by the face and expression of his opponent, Rob Emerson, it didn't work. From the first strikes, Bennett strangely stimulated and seemingly mocked his opponent.
Rob's eyes are on. Long-range weapons right now, kicks.
A bit later, he sarcastically showed respect,
Knuckle to forehead.
only to receive a low kick in response. Rob Emerson found his method and focused on leg kicks, which confused his opponent significantly, leading to the next step.
In the round, scoring, and he's also taking down.
Smart.
In such a moment, one would think it necessary to remain serious, but this didn't apply to Bennett, who continued his mockery. This clowning went on for several minutes until Emerson became extremely angry and switched to a ruthless mode.
Well, he uses his efficient to throw in those areas.
Time that right hand, great.
He relentlessly beat Bennett on the ground, and when they returned to a standing position, he delivered a magnificent knockout.
He trusts his body to find it. That's what happens with these free-form fighters like this. Oh! He landed on...
This dreadlocked fighter is sure to make you angry. His name is Matthew Colquhoun, and his opponent was Ovidio Bojorquez. As soon as he had the first opportunity to taunt, he didn't miss it and kept irritating his opponent. To be honest, I don't like his facial expressions and mimics either, just like his opponent, who punished the dancer for such behavior, but immediately received an extra dose of mockery. After a few minutes, Ovidio landed a high kick and again received a dose of cringe. Understanding his capabilities, the dancer tested himself on the ground, but since his opponent turned out to be quite experienced, he had to return to standing. Here, Ovidio began to provoke the dancer and really angered him. But it didn't play a big role as the fight ended abruptly. His name is Ren Hiramoto, and that's his usual greeting gesture. This time, his punisher was Kyohei Nagiwara, a fighter with extensive experience in wrestling. Just one look at him was enough to see he's a serious guy. The fight had barely started when Nagiwara landed a successful right hook and immediately went for a takedown. Hiramoto showed his reluctance to stay on the ground and brought the fight back to a standing position. However, his will alone wasn't enough as Nagiwara continued to push for his game plan again and again. Finally, when he succeeded, Nagiwara secured the top mount and eagerly beat down his opponent. After his victory, he performed a traditional execution and added yet another win to his record. The next punching bag is Shinchakga Zoltsetseg. He has a very peculiar fighting style, distinguished by his charisma and speed, but this time his opponent was Mark Abelardo. Even though his opponent turned out to be much stronger, it didn't deter the Mongolian fighter, who continued to mock him. After every strike, he shouted taunts. Following catching his opponent's leg and taking him to the ground, he continued his clownish antics. Abelardo struggled to cope with the Mongolian's speed and decided to speed things up by transitioning to the ground. On the ground, he felt much more confident and dominated his opponent. Ultimately, he turned Zoltsetseg's face into a force meat and confidently secured the victory. Our top cocky fighters list continues with this fighter in a primate mask named Leandro Silva. His opponent was a fighter from Slovakia, Marek Mazuch, who entered the fight with a 6-0 record. Despite the fact that Silva had lost his last 3 fights, he fought with precision and completely outclassed his opponent.
The injury we teased, maybe.
So we might see blood land.
No one could have predicted that the Brazilian fighter would perform so well.
Pick his target, but he got beat.
He really has a lot of heart and discipline.
Marek had no choice but to defend and search for gaps in Silva's strategy. Finally, his first opportunity to strike came, but he was quickly humiliated and embarrassed.
Little shots.
Karma wasn't in a hurry this time, and Leandro Silva kept boxing at the same pace. Silva opened the second round with energetic combinations, but his flashy dance moves weren't forgotten, and he got the punishment he deserved. A fighter who hadn't stood out in any way snatched victory with a single attack. After this defeat, Leandro Silva never wore the primate mask again. What happens in the bout between Sam Maxwell and Sabri Sadiri will surely surprise you. This championship fight for the vacant title between two talented prospects took place in March 2019. The Frenchman, Sabri Sadiri, started off very well, almost consuming his opponent from the inside. In the first round, he knocked Maxwell down and took the opportunity to taunt him.
To get to the final of the... Oh my goodness!
The same scenario repeated in the second round with another knockdown.
Oh, he's got him again! Right hand this time. And this is turning into a nightmare.
Sadiri was performing exceptionally well, but when the fight reached the 10th round, the outcome completely changed. As Sadiri was losing on points, he began to test his opponent's mental resilience.
He almost went there. He almost went with that left hand.
He continuously mocked Maxwell, which turned out to be his biggest mistake.
Oh, great shot! Left hand, right hand from Maxwell. Well, where did that come from?
With only 15 seconds left before the fight would end, Maxwell brilliantly sped up the clock and secured a dramatic finish. All Asian fighters are known for their respectful demeanor, but this blonde-haired fighter definitely does not fit into that category. His name is Ryusei Ashizawa, and his opponent was fellow countryman Hirotaka Urabe. Both fighters are known for their active dominance, making it difficult to keep up with each other's pace in this bout. In the first round, Ashizawa already showed signs of disrespect, and by the third round, he was fully reveling in his mockery of his opponent.
Playing with the low guard, a little dangerous.
It's dangerous.
Fans love it, but dangerous, dangerous. Whoa!
His joy was short-lived, as Karma punished him twice within a minute.
Oh, down, he's down. Jeez. Something tired. Oh, wow.
After his victory, Hirotaka approached his opponent and thanked him for the fight, while the taunting dancer didn't even acknowledge him. As soon as the fighter was announced, he was met with a chorus of boos. Perhaps it was due to his demeanor. This is probably true, because as soon as the fight began, Tommy Broadbent, the fighter in red shorts, began to mock his opponent. The entire arena wanted Florian Marcoux to knock out the disrespectful fighter as quickly as possible. Broadbent pretended to be hurt after being hit in the back of the head, which only earned him more disdain from the crowd. To lift his spirits, he taunted even more, but his antics played a cruel joke on him. It was a complete domination as Florian Marcoux didn't give an inch. After this episode, the scene repeated itself, but the clown couldn't get up due to his injuries. In July 2016, a championship bout took place between two knockout artists, Adonis Stevenson and Thomas Williams. At that time, Adonis Stevenson was making his 7th title defense, and this time he faced a young and creative prospect. Stevenson was renowned for his powerful left hand, and this fight was no exception.
With a younger Adonis Stevenson.
By the end of the first round, he easily sent his opponent to the canvas.
And there is the left we talked about. An opening round.
Williams's expression indicated that he was unfazed. The second round also went well for the champion, while Williams was visibly frustrated by this. However, this frustration drove him to increase his pace and put more pressure on his opponent.
Uncomfortable can get him moving. What he has to do is land a shot straight left hand. In one way or another, this thing doesn't have to require some space. And Williams now trying to take it away from him. Come top dog. Stevenson trying to dodge the...
Near the end of the round, Williams danced for the crowd, not realizing he had made a critical mistake.
The champ was staggered at the end of round 2, and some mugging by Top Dog.
The champion's fury knew no bounds, and by the 4th round, he had punished Williams severely.
Another by Superman.